Welcome back to this second part of the FIB 102 Bulletin webinar. We are now see the presentation by Sofia Ribeiro entitled Patch Repair, Hand Applied Mortar. I'm going to say a few words about Sofia. She is a research officer of the materials department at LNEC, the Portuguese National Laboratory of Civil Engineering, and she is director of Cement and Concrete Laboratory of Physical Testing. Sofia, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Sofia Ribeiro and I'm a research officer of Materials Department at LNEC in Lisbon, Portugal. And I'm going to present the patch repair of concrete structure by hand-applied mortar method that I carried out with my colleague André Monteiro, the designer João Garcia, and the contractor João Ribeiro. Patch repair by hand-applied mortar method is section 8 of the FIB Bulletin 102 that follows these contents. I will begin with the relevant aspects to be considered when adopting a patch repair by hand-applied mortar method, including what consists, where can be used, and what must be pointed out. After that, I will describe the intervention design and the execution of a patch repair by hand-applied mortar, and finally, some considerations about quality control of the works and monitoring and maintenance system. During my presentation, I'm going to show some pictures of the case study, the rehabilitation of the facades and roofing of the buildings A to E of the high school, José Gomes Ferreira, in Lisbon, Portugal, which I will describe at the end of this presentation. So, what is a patch repair of concrete structures by hand-applied mortar? It is to perform patch repairs, and it consists of restoring contaminated or faulty, unreinforced or reinforced concrete of members in both minor or localized areas near the concrete surface with a mortar that is hand applied, and to be adopted where the load carrying ability is not a primary concern. As you can see in this picture, they show defects related to corrosion, to reinforcement corrosion that was induced by carbonation of the white concrete panels of the facade of the buildings of the high school, including spalling and delamination of concrete cover with exposed of corroded reinforcement steel, also here. Where a patch repair method can be used. It can be used in the case of shallow concrete replacement and overlays, on the top vertical and overhead surfaces, in which the repair thickness is at least 6 millimeters and recommended not more than 30 millimeters. And in individual areas to be repaired around 0.5 square meters. So in this picture, we can see on the left a deteriorated joint with the lamination of concrete to corrosion of reinforcement that was accelerated by the wet drying cycle. On the right, the picture shows spalling of concrete due to the small cover of the depth of the bars. And now, what must be pointed out when adopting a patch repair by hand-applied mortar method? Patch repair is a popular technique due to its simplicity and low cost, first of all, and is a rapid repair method too, which does not require specialized equipment and usually involves few restrictions to the condition of application on site. However, patch repair method may not necessarily extend the service life of the structure when reinforcement corrosion is involved. Another aspect that needs to be considered when using patch repair by hand-applied mortar method is that it may be visually obtrusive, and its service life shall ensure that no deterioration will occur in the repair area during the remaining lifetime of the structure. As you can see in this picture on the right, the repairs may have a different surface texture and may look different from the rest of the structure. Another particularity of the patch repair method is the phenomenon called incipient anode effect. What is this phenomenon? This phenomenon may initiate or accelerate the corrosion of bars that are no longer passivated and of which the location, the type, scope, and emergence cannot be estimated beforehand. So typically, cases of initiation or acceleration the corrosion due to incipient anode effects may commonly occur in the following cases. 4 cases. So, case one illustrated in this picture results from the active corrosion in dark areas adjacent to the patching repair, where the steel bars embedded in the existing concrete are passivated. The second case illustrated in this picture is areas of partial exposed reinforcing bars, where part of the circumference remains dispassivated after patching and is in contact with the existing concrete, could be chloride contaminated or carbonated. The third case happens when steel bars or new strengthening bars that are embedded in the patch repair material are electrically connected to the passivated steel bars in the opposite face of the member. And finally, the case 4 is when the barrier coating, normally a epoxy coating, applied to expose steel bar is or remain damaged after patching next to existing contaminated concrete. So now concerning materials and systems, the common generic mortar used in the patch repair method is a polymer modified hydraulic cement mortar, which normally exhibit low stringage, high thesauctropy, and high adhesive bond, and also includes an aggregate with appropriate size for the area to be repaired. These mortars are normally pre-formulated and pre-packaged factory patched product, which has been developed for a precise application and a specific environmental condition. This picture, you can see the application of the repair mortar. The name of the repair mortar, the commercial name is this one, applied on the panel of the facade of the buildings of the high school. Here is finishing. Now, speaking about stakeholder rules and qualifications, what can be emphasized that we can emphasize that an owner's brief shall be delivered to the designer as formal document with owner's requirements. The designer shall prepare a full specification for the repair works and give to contractor. The contractor shall have experience and expertise of the work of the repair works. And finally, at the end, user shall follow the maintenance plan. Here you can see some pictures that show some of the members involved in the intervention in the high school. Now let's move to another topic, design. A design of a patch repair by hand-apply mortar shall specify, first of all, assessment of existing structure to confirm the causes of the defects by inspection and in situ and laboratory tests. Shall also decide the repair strategy to be adopted, including restoring concrete or increasing the physical or chemical resistance or preserving the passivity. Shall also specify the service life of the intervention, the requirements for the existing concrete, the specification for system trials, and also the requirements for the repair materials and patching works. Very important detailing. Also quality plans for the execution of the works, acceptance of repairs, remedial works, and finally the documentation. As illustrated in this picture on the right, it is a detailing draw about preparation of existing concrete specification. And we can say that the distance A should be 15 millimeter and B 50 millimeter at least. Now, relating to execution, the execution of a patch repair by hand-apply mortar should include the preparation of the existing concrete, the initial on-site trials, also the preparation of reinforcement, the application of repair materials, and at the end, the finishing and curing. The figure that is here in the left side illustrates a detailing draw of initial off-site trials, a test panel for approval of the repair mortar. And on the right, we can see an example of the configurations of the repair areas. The execution of a patch repair by hand-apply mortar shall be carried out in accordance with the quality control plan prepared for the design, where the repair material should be subject to quality control before, during, and after the intervention, based on tests and observations. And relating to maintenance and monitoring work, it shall be done to assess the conservation condition of the intervention and the presence of further corrosion damage, based on also on the visual inspections. This picture on the right, you can see the general view of the finished repair works carried out on the panel of the facade with two model types of the school buildings. And now I will show the east view of the buildings of the high school José Gomes Ferreira before the intervention in 2003. Okay. The buildings The building consists of 5 elongated bodies of different lengths, like the 5 fingers of the hand, which are separated by and cover corridors topped by terraces. Here you can see a view of the facades showing the model types of the facades. These model types. A west view of the buildings in which the cover arcades, soften the construction. Here another view of the arcades, cover arcades. As expected, during the assessment of the structure, tests were conducted with a view to complete the existing information of the concrete quality and included concrete cover depth, in situ compressive strength, carbonation depth, and also water and air permeability. This picture, we can see the spalling concrete here and also here of concrete cover with exposed corroded reinforcement on the white concrete of the facades and the arcades of one of the buildings of the high school. These pictures show the external and the inner faces of the semicircular panel of the safety barrier of the roof of the buildings that were cast on field that were very, very deteriorated. This picture, the picture on the left, show that the semicircular roof safety barrier panels were demolished rather than repaired. And on the right, we can see the simplicity of the equipment used in the preparation of the existing concrete. This picture is a record of the defects identified from the inspection carried out on one of the school buildings, and it was related to reinforcement corrosion, differential settlement, and water leaked from the terrace roof and skylight. As illustrated in these pictures, it was necessary to select several areas to be subject to the tests for assessing the conformity of the repair materials to use for repair panel of the facades of the high school. Finally, these pictures illustrate a general view of the finished repair works carried out on the buildings of one facade, and here the final aspect of one roof after the repair works in 2007. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Sofia, for this nice presentation. There is now a written question from Gassin Ahem. I'm going to read it. The depth of intervention, depth 50 millimeters, A and B ratio. You can also check, Sofia, please, the window, the Q&A window. You have to press the button. The question is, can we minimize this value to 20 millimeters, for instance?
To minimize.
Perhaps I would ask Gassin. I'm going to allow here in the system him to talk. I think you can talk now, Gassin. You have to unmute yourself. Perhaps it's easier if you ask loud and clear the question to Sofia, please.
Thank you, Ms. Sofia, for this last presentation. The question is, can we reduce, let's say, because when you showed us the section of the rebars into the slabs, there was the A and the B. The dimension you mentioned, it should be around 50 millimeter. That's 5 centimeter. The question is, can we reduce this intervention? Because, for example, if we have a slab of 30 centimeter or 25 centimeter, this is, I believe it is too much to go into the slab 5 centimeter inside, let's say, above the rebars.
Okay, you can reduce if you use a small aggregate in your repair material, and if you guarantee that you can involve all the rebars with the new material, the repair material. This is the ideal of the repair. So if you can involve with your material, repair material, the bars, you can reduce the A, and the B. The B, it's too. You can reduce also the B distance.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gassam. I'm going to mute you again. There is another question by Paulo Maranha Tiago. Perhaps I'll ask because it's a very simple question. Is asking you please to give us the age of the building at the time the intervention was conducted.
Yes, the building was finished the construction in 1980, and the intervention started 23 years after. So the concrete was 23 years old when the intervention began.
Okay. Paulo, do you want to ask anything else to Sofia? I can unmute you, or are you happy with the answer? Okay. So thank you, Sofia, once again.